Good morning. Hello and welcome to our Transgender Day of Visibility service. My name is Sheila Doles and my pronouns are she, her, and I'm happy to be your worship associate today. As we begin our service, I invite you to silence your phone, close other windows on your computer, take a deep breath, and center yourselves. We open and welcome to the ancestral people of this land, acknowledging that our church, like all of Burke, rests on the unceded territory of the Monohoic tribe of the Great Sioux Nation. We seek healing and realization of justice with the people of this land who live on in their descendants, the present-day members of the Monacan Indian Nation, the Patawomack Indian tribe of Virginia, and the Piscataway Indian Nation. We honor the ancestors as we move toward healing so that all, together, shall one day know full justice.
The words for our season for nonviolence chalice lighting come from Laverne Cox. By doing the work to love ourselves more, I believe we will love each other better. And I welcome you to Accotink Unitarian Universalist Church. I am Nancy Melito. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm happy to be your worship associate today. This congregation is a welcoming and inclusive spiritual home where we inspire each other to live our values. Together, we care in community, grow in spirit, and act for justice. And whether you're a longtime member, a newcomer, or something in between, we encourage you to stay for our social hour, online and in person, immediately after this service. We're so delighted that you decided to join us today. Welcome.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning.
In last year's Transgender Day of Visibility service, Rev Lev led us in a service titled Rainbow People. We learned about how we associate colors with genders. For about 100 years now, our society has associated the color blue with masculine traits and pink with feminine traits. We also learned about the 4 different hormonal personality types: the director, driven by testosterone, the negotiator, driven by estrogen, the explorer, driven by dopamine, and the builder, driven by serotonin. And we associated colors with those types. Today, we're going to share more about colors, but this time we're going to think about it a little differently. We're not going to think about what colors we are, but what colors our shadows are. We have little shadows for everyone in the colors of the trans flag. Choose the one, as we pass them out, that speaks to you. And for those of you on Zoom, you can choose one of these colors as well and share it in the chat if you like.
So what does it mean for someone to be transgender? We define gender expression as masculine, feminine, or androgynous traits. To be transgender means a person's gender is different from the sex they were assigned at birth, or a person's gender expression is outside of traditional societal norms. From emperors to entertainers, from singers to soldiers, and from activists to athletes, transgender people are not just a part of our society today, but of our history. Transgender Day of Visibility was founded by transgender activist Rachel Crandall as a reaction to the fact that the only well-known transgender-centered day was the Transgender Day of Remembrance, which mourned the murders of transgender people. The first International Transgender Day of Visibility was held on March 31st, 2009. Every year since, the day is dedicated to celebrating the accomplishments of transgender and gender nonconforming people while raising awareness of the work that still needs to be done to achieve justice.
In Book of Night, author Holly Black writes, "Your shadow holds all the parts of you that you want to keep hidden. A second self, standing just to your left, walking behind you into lit rooms. And sometimes it has a life of its own." Think about this as we watch the first part of a short animated film. There are no words in this film, so we invite you to concentrate on the emotions, the moving images, and the colors that you see.
We hope you noticed how vulnerable the child in that film was. In just those few minutes, we see their shadow holding parts that they might want to keep hidden, and wondering if it's safe to share that shadow with their classmates, with their father, and even themselves. I think we all know how it feels to not be happy or proud of a part of ourselves. We might also know what it feels like to be scared to share a private part of ourselves with the world. Raise your hand if you think the child in this film will dress up as their shadow at school. Yeah. Now think about if you were the child in this film. You know your shadow. You know your shadow. You love your shadow. But you also know how your dad just reacted to your shadow. Raise your hand if you would share your shadow at school the next day. Would you be brave and authentic? Would you let yourself be vulnerable? Let's see what happens.
It takes a lot of bravery to share who you are with the world. That's even harder to do when you're transgender, and the things that society expects from you aren't what you want or what you feel. Audre Lorde wrote, "That visibility which makes us most vulnerable is that which is also the source of our greatest strength." We want to lift up all the trans people in our community who have come out and showed us the colors of their shadows. They've shared their talents and wisdom to make the world a better place. We are joyful to have them in our beloved community. Can everyone channel a little vulnerability and a little bravery and hold up their shadow people so we can share and see the mix of colors that we have with us today.
The film we watched earlier was created by author Scott Stewart, based on his book, My Shadow is Pink. The film invites us to rely on the music, the images, and the colors to see the child's vulnerability and bravery. And we also see how others in their life react to this pink shadow. It's different. It's unexpected. But that doesn't mean that it can't be celebrated. That doesn't mean it needs to be hidden away. And that doesn't mean it can't inspire others to explore what colors their shadows are. In the movie version, it's up to us to imagine what words might have been spoken. In the book version of the story, we have words to guide us.
Your shadow is pink. I see now, it's true. It's not just a shadow, it's your innermost you.
He showed me the photos of parents and brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and others.
We've all had a shadow that's hidden from eyes. Sometimes our shadow, it lives in disguise. His shadow loves painting and fashion and art. Her shadow loves engines and powerful cars. His shadow loves dance with its turns and its twirls. Her shadow, she hides it. Her shadow likes girls. His shadow loves theater and acting and plays. Her shadow loves science and planets and space. Your shadow is you, and pink it will be. So stand up with your shadow and yell, "This is me!" And some, they will love you, and some, they will not. But those that do love you, they'll love you a lot.
This month at Accotink, we've explored the topic of vulnerability in many ways. You have to be vulnerable to belong, but you have to be met with a sense of belonging to want to be your authentic self. One way to help others be vulnerable is to be vulnerable ourselves. One way to create a space where people feel comfortable sharing is to lead by example, and first share our own thoughts and feelings while making space for others to follow if they feel comfortable doing so. A few months ago, we did this by wearing pronoun pins that allow people to see what words best fit us. We also created flags that are hanging out in the gallery that show the colors, symbols, phrases, designs, and shapes that are meaningful to us. Today, we're going to do this by sharing our shadows. Last year, we colored cutouts and put them all together to form a version of our church logo with rainbow people. And I think we have a picture of that, from last year.
Author Ursula K. Le Guin wrote, "To light a candle is to cast a shadow." We have our chalice light still burning, and we all have our shadows, right? This year, we gave you just 3 colors to choose from, but we still want you to think about those private sides of yourself where you're most vulnerable. What shape do you imagine fits that part of you? Does it wear a fancy dress? Does it sport an extravagant hat? Maybe it gardened yesterday and it's kneeling down on the ground, holding flowers to plant. Maybe it attended movie night with us last night and is sitting with its feet up holding a bag of popcorn. Or is it plain? What you see is what you get. Or is it covered in designs you can only see if you look so closely? What color is that part of you? Does the color of the shadow you're holding now still feel good to you? Or is your shadow another color? Because we all know, just by looking at the colors we have around us, here on this chancel and here in the sanctuary, there are more colors than just pink, blue, and white. Shadows can be any color. Luckily, we have another book to help us learn more about that. My shadow is purple. Who saw that coming? All right, now who saw this coming? We've got more shadows for you, more colors for you. Maybe you want to trade the one you're holding now for a shadow of a different color. Or maybe sometimes your shadow is one color, and then sometimes it changes to another color. Feel free to take whatever color you want from the basket. And we have crayons. Decorate it. Make it your own.
We want to invite you to decorate your shadows however you want, now or at a table we'll have after the service. You can also take it home and add to it. Think about the colors and shapes and how you can use this to express something you're maybe not used to sharing. While you color or imagine, we have a second story to share with you. My shadow is purple.
My Shadow is Purple, written and illustrated by Scott Stewart. My dad has a shadow that's blue as a berry, and my mom's is as pink as a blossoming cherry. There's only those choices, a 2 or a 1, but mine is quite different. It's both and it's none. If theirs are straight, then mine is a circle, for my shadow's different. My shadow is purple. My shadow loves playing with all sorts of toys, things left by girls and things left by boys. I dance with the pinks as they turn and they spin, and I play sports with the blues as they lose and they win. Some of my friends think I'm simply confused, but the thing I love most is not having to choose. Some tell me I'm blue, only blue can be strong. But my mom's strong too, so I think they're wrong. Some tell me I'm pink, 'cause pink's the most caring. But dad's always crying and loving and sharing. Why can't I love sport and dancing and trains and ponies and glitter and engines and planes? Why must I choose and exclude all the rest? I love choosing both because both is the best. And now it is time for the greatest event. The school dance is here. The invite's been sent. I'm ready to rock and I'm feeling cute. My mom made my skirt and my dad made my suit. I bounce through the door and I gasp as I enter. The room split in two, right down the center. Blue shadows go left and pink shadows right. Once we're split up, we'll kickstart this night. Everyone laughs as they head to their zones, and I'm right in the middle. I'm left all alone. I look to the left where the shadows are blue. They wave me over saying, "You are blue too." Then I look right as I struggle to think. They call me over. "Come on, you are pink." The teacher walks up looking rather amused. "I know you are different, but now you must choose." My heart just starts racing and tears fill my eyes. I know I must choose, but I don't understand why. The room has gone quiet and everyone's looking. My cheeks are so red, they feel like they're cooking. If I can't be purple, then I cannot stay. I'll leave and go home, I quietly say. I slowly start walking, my legs are like jello. A voice breaks the silence. My shadow is yellow! My eyes open wide, my shadow, it gawks. A child walks to the middle, looks up and talks. There's more than 2 colors our shadows can be. I was too scared before, but blue is not me. I know from outside blue fits like a glove, but my shadow's yellow, which to me feels like love. They turn with a smile and take hold of my hand. Who wants to join us? There's room here to stand. At first, no one moves. Then, a hand in the air. My shadow's as brown as a big grizzly bear. My shadow is red. Mine's silver, mine's green. Mine's violet, mine's orange, mine's aquamarine. They all rush to join us, whatever their color. Blue, pink, and purple, and shadows called other. I look at each shadow, no 2 are the same. On each happy face there's no trace of shame. Each different and special and fully unique. No color's stronger and no color's weak. The teacher comes over as we're joined as one. Whatever your color, start dancing, have fun!
Let's all be vulnerable and brave together and hold up our shadows once again to show off all the different colors. And those of you on Zoom, let us know in the chat what colors your shadows are. In their book, Beyond the Gender Binary, Alok Vaid-Menon writes, "These days, the days I feel most beautiful are the days I feel the most afraid." Incidentally, we'll be discussing this very short, easy to read book next month as part of our study issue. And we have copies that we're adding to the church library that you can borrow starting today. Not everyone who is transgender or non-binary feels comfortable sharing their true colors with those in their lives or with the world around them. On Transgender Day of Visibility, we celebrate those who share their shadows proudly. We also recognize that some people may know it's safer to show only a pink or a blue shadow at some times or to some people. But think about that sacrifice. Alok asks, what part of yourself did you have to destroy to survive in this world? And after the books we read together today, we would ask, what part of yourself did you have to hide to survive in this world? We also ask what it will take to have a community where people feel comfortable sharing their true colors of their shadows, their hidden passions, their talents, their hidden beauties and strengths. What will it take to make a world like that? In this book, Alok also writes, "The world we want is one in which all people, regardless of their appearances, are treated with dignity and respect. One in which these factors do not have any bearing on safety, employment, and opportunity. We want a world that acknowledges and appreciates the complexity of everyone and everything. One in which transformation is celebrated and not repressed. We want a world where people have an underlying worth regardless of their gender." We want a world where boys can feel, girls can lead, and the rest of us can not only exist, but thrive.
We have come to one of my favorite parts of our service here, something that drew me in from the very first time I ever attended Accotink. If you would be so kind as to stand and to extend your hands out toward the rest of the congregation and, incidentally, to those at home on Zoom. Our community blessing by David Bumbaugh. This church is dedicated to the proposition that behind all our differences and beneath all our diversity, there is a unity that makes us one and binds us forever together in spite of time, death, and the space between the stars. We pause now in silent witness to that unity. And as we extinguish our chalice flame, we carry its light within us and share it radiantly out into the world. And we want to remind you, you can only see shadows when there's light. The stronger the light, the stronger the shadow. And now, lastly, as we close this month of vulnerability, may we each find the color of our shadows and the courage to let them shine brilliantly in a rainbow of beauty and love. Blessed be.